indeed the millions of visitors who come to the Presidio from across the country and across the world should have that national park to enjoy. And so I think it's to the benefit of all Americans that we invest in all of our national parks. I recently had the chance to visit 3 of our most remote national parks and want them to have all of the resources in New Mexico and in Texas, and I want them to have all the appropriate resources as well. The Great American Outdoors Act was both a necessary investment and an incredible bipartisan achievement. You might not know that it was an incredible bipartisan achievement from some of the questioning today, but it was. And it passed the House with nearly 3/4 support and was signed by President Trump, to his great credit. And so yes, Washington actually did something big 3 years ago based on a simple and popular principle, which is that everyone should have the joy of visiting our national parks. So today what I want to do is explore exactly how the law's vision of accessibility looks and see how committed we truly are to it. As you know, Mr. Sams, the Great American Outdoors Act includes language that requires the Legacy Restoration Fund projects to improve access to national parks for visitors with disabilities. How has the National Park Service been prioritizing this requirement?
Thank you, Congresswoman. You know, as I said earlier, many of our projects and our parks came out of Mission 66, the parks that came between 1956 and 66, of course, way before the ADA was passed. National Parks is committed to ensuring people with disabilities have equal opportunity to benefit from NPS facilities, programs, service, and activities. The LRF projects incorporate measures to improve the accessibility of assets and accommodation to visitors and employees with disabilities. Improving accessibility is a factor of the project selection criteria we use.
Can you give an example, if you can, of any exemplary projects that may hit home? Any projects that were selected in particular to improve accessibility?
Yes, Congresswoman. Sarasota National Historic Park project to rehabilitate the battlefield interpretive experience improves physical accessibility of wayside areas and amenities and adds new field exhibits that incorporate universal design. Crater Lake National Park in my own home state project to rehabilitate a section of the East Rim Drive will ensure parking areas along the drive have accessibility compliant surfaces, markings, and overlooks. And Yosemite National Park campground projects improve accessibility of campsite surfaces, amenities, and the historic bathrooms to make sure there's accommodations.
I really appreciate that. And one of the things when I was subcommittee chair of Oversight and Investigations last Congress, we had a hearing on disability access in the national parks. And one of the things that came across is that many of our veterans are people with disabilities and enjoy our federal lands, whether it's for recreation or for other purposes. And so I've seen these disability projects myself firsthand. For example, the boardwalk at White Sands National Park, which makes it possible for people with mobility issues to go and visit that. And so one of the things that came across in that hearing is that accessibility design doesn't take away from the experience of visitors without disabilities, but in fact, good quality disability design improves the experience for everybody. And so you think about kids who might be in a stroller are the same people who are able to enjoy a boardwalk that might be designed for people with physical disabilities. What else does the National Park Service need from Congress to make all national parks accessible to every visitor?
We appreciate your continued engagement with us on the issue, and keeping this conversation going is very helpful. And I look forward to sitting down with many of you to talk about how we can even be better at this. Yeah,
and what I have heard is that there's about $900 million a year that you're still short in the Great American Outdoors Act, and the bill as it's written only addresses about half of the backlog. And so what that means is that we still have more projects to do, which means we still have more opportunity to work on inclusivity and accessibility during that. We can't pass the Great American Outdoors Act to be popular with our constituents 1 year and then turn around later and cut that very funding that will allow us to achieve its bipartisan goals. So today I ask my colleagues, do you truly want to achieve the vision of the Great American Outdoors Act, or will you vote to fund or to cut the National Park Service based on whatever is politically popular at the time? We'll find out when we take our votes to fund the Department of Interior. I yield back.